We're back to Terry and Jesse show. I believe we've got our compatriots from Church Militant on the line.
Yeah, Joe Gallagher, welcome to the Terry and Jesse show, brother.
Hey, guys. Glad to be back. Thank you for having us on again.
Absolutely. And obviously, much is going on in the Catholic world. I mean, it just seems like it keeps getting heavier and heavier. So why don't you give us a little preview of what you guys have coming later today?
Sure. Just before that, one joke that a couple of producers and we've made in the past is, we're kind of in a self-defeating industry. I mean, the ideal for Church Militant, it would be, priest saves cat from tree and things like that.
Yeah.
Record baptisms at the cathedral, but unfortunately, we're not there yet. But through God's grace,
amen.
Hopefully.
Yep. Hey, so what's going on with Steve? What's going on with Catholic Steve Bannon?
Exactly. Yep. Catholic Steve Bannon. So, as we all know, he was charged in the fall of 2021 for contempt of Congress because of his refusal to testify or provide documentation given the whole happenings on January 6th, 2021. And in an interesting turn of events, Bannon and his legal team actually have served subpoenas to all of the members of the January 6th investigative committee. So it's very much fire with fire right now.
I like his approach. The best defense is an offense, and he's doing it.
Absolutely, he is. And it's it's an interesting situation because obviously, assuming Bannon is guilty as he's pleading to be, this kind of says to Pelosi, Schiff, and even Liz Cheney on the minority side of the committee, all of those players saying, okay, well, if you're saying that I'm refusing to produce documents, how about you? Please produce documents and then vindicate me, or don't produce documents and still vindicate me. Although some experts are saying that there's a speech and debate clause within the Constitution that protects the process of the committee. The jury's still out on that, of course, but it is very cool to see the fight offense with offense. It's awesome.
I love it.
Oh. Joe, you know what boggles my mind is for 2 years we saw 500 and some riots as a result of Antifa and Black Lives Matter. A lot of these guys were caught on video. We know who they are. And the Democrats seem to be focused on one day, the infamous, January 6th.
Yep.
And what's interesting is you could even see the police, the Washington, D.C. police, they were okay with it. You can see on video, they're opening the gates and they're waiting for people to come in. To me, I mean, this was an inside job. And the Democrats, they can't see the forest. It's on fire because they're looking at one little tree. That's what's happening right here. It goes to show you the double standard when it comes to lady justice in our country.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Ali Alexander, the organizer of Stop the Steal and all of that was happening at the end of 2020 after the election, everything was becoming much more apparent. He actually made a press release. He wrote up a press release. It was not as heavily covered as I would have expected it to be, talking about how there were two players leading Women for Trump that actually moved the entire protest or rally, the massive group of people that were there, the thousands that were there. They actually moved them to a location that was not in conjunction with the permits that was organized by all of the organizers. Wow. So there are so many different moving parts that just aren't touched or purposefully ignored, as probably might be a better way to look at it. So I totally agree.
By the way, Joe, have you watched I know you probably have. Have you watched the movie 2000 Mules?
I have not yet. I really want to. I really want to. There's people have sent around some link saying, watch it for free, but that's good work, and I want to support good work by watching it the right way, paying for it, and everything like that.
So talk to us about the Colorado bishops.
All righty. So obviously hot off the press with the Colorado bishops. They're following right after Archbishop Cordeleone's lead in a manner, and I think that's something that I'd like to pose a question to in a moment here. But essentially, so there was the REA Act, the Reproductive Health Equality Act. It was just passed in Colorado, a House bill, which it's going to Governor Polis's desk, which would allow abortion of any child, regardless of race, gender, sex, disability, whatever, from conception until the moment of birth, to be legalized within Colorado. And it's just horrible. And so all three dioceses of Colorado, their bishops, and an auxiliary in Denver, so we have Denver, Colorado Springs, and Pueblo, they put together a letter doing some pretty awesome things, and something I personally, we have a question here at Church Militant about. They congratulated the Catholic politicians who did vote for life and try to defend the right of the preborn to life, to liberty, and all those things that are awarded to those individuals who had the gift of being able to have been born. And so much so, they actually called that logic of saying, oh, just because a person has yet to be born doesn't offer them the same rights as somebody who has. They call that logic morally corrupt. And I think that that's powerful language, and that's solid writings by the bishops. And one other thing, I have the whole letter right here, just so you know. I highlighted a couple of awesome points. They talk about the Catholic politicians who have done so, voted for the passage of this bill should it become law. They very likely placed themselves outside of the communion of the Church, and that is a clear explanation, saying the chances are, because you don't know, possibly, I don't know how, but there is the chance that they don't know the teachings of the faith on this. So many Catholics today don't. And that's another point that the bishops mentioned, saying when you go to receive Holy Communion and you're a pro-abortion politician, you are likely to cause other Catholics to lose an appreciation and an understanding of the Eucharist. With all of that said, in this letter, they finally end up saying, we ask all of these pro-abortion politicians to voluntarily refrain from receiving Holy Communion. We'd love to see that more strong directive like Cordileone did, but you know what? This is a step. And they talk about how they're reaching out to these and they're trying to enter into some discussion. Some, very few, but some of those pro-abortion, pro-child murder politicians have accepted. So hopefully we'll see some fruits coming out of that.
Joe, one comment of my Bishop Aquila, who I've met, and he's consistently defended human life and the Eucharist. But in a letter of 2021, he got a lot of criticism from the liberal cardinal in Chicago, Cardinal Blaise. And I think that for him to do this now again, he knows he's going to take heat. I'm going to be down at the Bishops' Conference here in San Diego. And I am going, if I see him, I'm going to thank him for what he did, because he stood up. Because I'm going to give you my take, and maybe I'm too strong, Joe, but they don't believe in the sanctity of life, some of these bishops, or they're cowards. Either one, it's not good.
Yeah, we fully agree. Or they just have a zero understanding of what the Holy Eucharist is. And that's another thing that's so commendable with these Colorado bishops, is they make that very, very clear in their letter.
Love it.
Terry, let the audience know where you're going to be at today.
Oh,
pardon me?
Oh, no, I'm not going to be there today. Monday, I'm going down.
Oh, got it.
I won't be on the radio show Monday because I'll be down in San Diego, and I'll be with our good friend who's got the show with us, the Bishop Strickland Hour, and I'll be spending some time with the good bishop.
When are you going to be on Newsmax?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to be on Newsmax at 3:45 today, California time. 2:45, California time, which is fine. I'm going to be talking about what you're just saying, as about the pro-life issues of the day and stand up for life. So, yes, we're all in it together here, Joe, trying to get the message out for the sanctity of life. But we still got one more topic for your show. Can you give us that before we run out of time?
Of course. So the USCCB called for a Religious Freedom Week the last week of June, and every single day has a specific intention to be praying for.
Yes.
Some of them are fantastic,
yes,
such as walking with mothers that are going through difficult pregnancies, awesome, and providing them some resource. There are some questions, though, talking about the June healthcare workers. So June 28th, they're praying for the freedom of conscience for healthcare workers. In particular, of course, with relation to being able to provide or refuse to provide abortion services if they so oblige. But the question does arise, so many different dioceses, including like the one you just mentioned, Terry, the Archdiocese of Chicago, mandated the COVID vaccination. Yeah. Some other dioceses for their seminarians, refusing men holy orders just because their conscience told them, I can't accept this vaccination, quote unquote. So there's some confusion in that.
Amen.
But that's the other thing that we'll be covering tonight on Evening News.
Awesome. Well, Joe, keep up the good work there at Church Militant. And I just always like to plug also the other resources you guys have. Take a minute just to summarize some other resources people have when they are on your website.
Absolutely. I know sometimes when we cover some of these stories, we're always looking at what some people would say, that, the negative aspects, the difficult aspects. We're always so angry and mean at Church Militant, but we also have so many, that's necessary investigations, necessary questions to ask. But we also have our premium content that promulgates the glories of the faith. It teaches what it is to be a Catholic, from devotionals to theology. It's all there, all on churchmilitant.com.
Well, Joe, thanks again for joining us here on the Terry and Jesse Show. We're birds of the feather flocking together, trying to help people get to heaven. That's the role of all of our apostolates, nothing more, nothing less. Thanks so much, Joe.
Oh, thank you, guys.
God love you.